Whoa, that is awesome.
I glued it all together with
It's homemade? How the hell can I do that? Whoa, she's a beauty.
Here goes.
Recently I fell in love after I stumbled across channels like Aero Stuff, FPV, Experimental Airlines, and Flite Test. People building aircraft, exploring, learning, and I thought, that looks like fun. The only problem is, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. So I'm going to need to go back to school. We're talking crayons and safety scissors, people, because I'm a long way off automated UAV flights. And this channel, well, it's basically going to be me figuring it all out from scratch, like my lab notebook for the process. I'm going to need to learn to cut, learn to glue, learn to build things that resemble and behave like aircraft. But I also need to learn to fly, which probably really means learning not to crash. And hopefully, with each project, I can become slightly less clueless. So to meet my goal, I've ordered foamboard, knives, a steel ruler, and a cutting board. And that's just on the building side, but also on the flying side and making their way from China to Ireland are a transmitter, batteries, FPV goggles, and this ridiculous looking drone. Eventually, I want to build aircraft like the ones that inspired all of this. And because every good project needs an absurdly ambitious end goal, Aero Stuff FPV, if you're watching this, I'm coming for you.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Okay, sorry for being creepy. What I have for Aero Stuff is admiration. It's where I want to be.
Stop it! You're ignorant.
Obviously, there are several intermediate steps. But before all of that, I need to learn the basics. Which brings us to the first experiment. Build an L39 glider. Cheers, guys. This is my first time handling Foamboard, so I wasn't expecting perfection. Or how small this thing would be. Every mistake was magnified, every cut mattered, every piece was tiny. At some point I realized I wasn't really learning aircraft construction anymore. I was fighting the scale. And when I checked the scale, it was off. So I made the decision to stop. Could I have finished it? Probably, but Glue and Glide is about learning from every project. And the lesson here was simple. Before you cut a single piece of foam board, make sure you've printed the plans at the correct scale. The result from experiment 1 was a total failure. The aircraft was printed at the wrong scale, making it far too small for a complete beginner. Instead of learning aircraft construction, I spent most of my time fighting tiny parts and my own lack of experience. That said, it wasn't a total loss. I learned how to work with Foamboard, make the basic cuts, use a steel ruler without losing any fingers, and most importantly, verify the scales of plans before I start cutting. My self-assessed score is 1.4 out of 10. Laughable? Yeah. But I still wanted to learn, and rather than spending hours wrestling with tiny aircraft, I moved on to something much better suited to a complete beginner. And that brings us to experiment 2. Build the Flite Test EZ Glider. After the L39 disaster, this immediately felt more sensible. The plans were a reasonable size and much easier to work with. And for the first time, I felt like I might actually be able to build something. One thing I noticed straight away was how much easier larger parts are to work with. With the L39, I felt like I was performing surgery on a particularly nervous insect. With this, I could actually hold the pieces. This was also the point where I started to understand why people recommend simple aircraft to beginners. Because the goal isn't to build the coolest thing possible. The goal is to finish the damn thing. And I felt like every cut was teaching me something. Mostly that my cutting is terrible. But that's still learning, and that's the point. Up until this point, Foamboard was just Foamboard. Now I was starting to realize that there are actual techniques involved. Bevel cuts, fold lines, all the little things experienced builders probably take for granted. And somewhere around this point, it stopped feeling like a craft project and started to feel like an aircraft. Not a good aircraft, but definitely an aircraft. One thing that worried me was the foam board I was using. Online, people talk about Adam's Ready Board and Dollar Tree foam board. With those, it looks like score cuts just pop out the unwanted foam. With my foam board, I had to work for it. Now that could just be poor technique, or a dull blade, or both. But I don't think I'll be sourcing Dollar Tree foam board in Ireland anytime soon. So I'm gonna stop crying about it and crack on. I also realized I needed a lot more practice cutting, particularly bevel cuts. Mine were so ugly I took great pleasure in hiding them underneath the wing where absolutely nobody could see them. I have some ideas on how to improve, and I'll work on those. By the time I was finished, I had absolutely no idea if the thing would fly. It looked vaguely aerodynamic, which, as it turns out, is not the same thing as actually being aerodynamic. But there was only one way to find out. I really like setting up the dihedrals. I think it was my favorite part of the build. I'm not sure how I did it, but I managed to snap this cutout piece, so I was a bit worried about that, but I was hopeful that if I trusted the glue, it would fix it. It's wonky as hell, but it's too late to go back now, so we crack on. That noise was the cat. I don't know what he was doing. And then I finished it off by gluing the wing to the fuselage, even though the build recommends the use of barbecue skewers, but I didn't have any, so I had to make do with what I had. And there was only one thing for it. Take it for a maiden flight. Here we go. Cats in the basket. Are they worried? Oh. Anyway, I glued it back together and realized I don't understand center of gravity whatsoever. So I made a modification to help balance it out. So I put blue tack, 30 cents into the nose. And I think it's a bit nose heavy now, but red too. Much better. Then my little quality controller inspected the aircraft and made only some very minor cosmetic changes. She was very impressed. And I took it outside to throw it about. Oh, not bad. But I knew what to do. It was the only thing I really could do. Glue gun it back together. She lives. She lives! And somehow, by pure fluke, she was better than ever. So how did experiment 2 go? Well, the aircraft was built, the aircraft flew, the aircraft crashed quite a bit, and the aircraft was repaired, which from what I can tell is a fairly normal aviation development cycle. I also learned that the center of gravity is considerably more important than I realized, and that I need more practice cutting foam board. So while we're not exactly setting records yet, I'd call that a partial success, and for that reason I'm giving my EZ Glider a score of 5.3 out of 10. Not great, not terrible, respectable. And I get to complete the first level of incompetence. So to finish up, all I really want to say is if you're further along in this journey than I am, and you've got some advice that might help me move from incompetent to dangerous, then please let me know in the comments. I just want to say thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want, because the best is yet to come. Yes!